Kulgara, in a land of myth, and a time of magic, the destiny of a great kingdom rests on the shoulders of a young boy. His name, Merlin. Lower Town, day. Tom pushes a cart playfully down the street and sneaks up behind the carpet that Gwen is beating. He pops his head over the clothesline on which the carpet is hung. Tom, boo. Gwen, oh. Gwen holds her hand to her chest. Tom, did I surprise you? Gwen, you certainly did. Tom, I've got another surprise for you, too. Tom hands Gwen a small, wrapped cloth. Gwen opens it, revealing a fancy button. Gwen, it's lovely. Tom, well, in case you ever need a spare. You know, for this. Tom holds up a colorful dress. Gwen, it's beautiful. Tom, well, you're a beautiful girl, Gwen. You deserve beautiful things. Gwen, but how? I mean, it must have been expensive. Tom, oh, very. But we're on the up now. Things are going to be different. Gwen, what's going on? Tom, it'll be all right. Trust me. Tom kisses her cheek. Tom, I won't be back for supper. Tom's forge, night. Tom works at his forge. Tom hears lots of wind. Tom, hello. A man appears before Tom, hooded and cloaked. Tauren, is it prepared? Tom, yes, look. Tauren approaches the forge and pulls down his hood, looking at the melted lead. Tauren, very good. Tauren pulls out a stone with silver claws around it. Tom, what is that? Tauren, I'm not paying you to ask questions. The lead, please. Tom takes the lead off the forge and pours it into a mold. Tauren holds the stone over the lead and the stone glows. Merlin wakes in his chamber. Tauren, spell Tom, whispers, you didn't say anything about magic. I don't want any trouble. Tauren, I Bugan Eos. Orpheron at Gildan, the lead turns to gold. Tom, gold. Tauren, pure, priceless gold. Tom drenches the gold and it steams. Tom holds up the lump of gold. Tauren, yours, blacksmith. If you keep your mouth shut. Arthur bursts in with the guards. Tauren runs for it. Arthur, seize him. Guard, yes sir, Arthur. Quickly, after him. Tauren tosses the heated materials in the water, creating a smoke screen. He knocks over a table and drops the leather bag with the stone in it. Guard, stop. Arthur, he must be caught. Guard. Stop that man. A pair of guards stay behind, restraining Tom. Arthur turns around and takes the gold from him. Tom, sire, please. Arthur, you're under arrest. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers, night. Merlin emerges from his chamber. Gaius. Can't sleep? Merlin, something woke me. Gaius. What? Merlin, I don't know. A feeling. Gaius. What kind of feeling? Merlin, powerful magic, here, in Camelot. Gwen runs into the physician's chambers. Merlin, Gwen. What's wrong? Gwen, my father's been arrested. Merlin, arrested? What for? Gwen, they say he was making weapons for a sorcerer. They're charging him with treason. King's Palace, Hedgehog Chamber, Morgana, Uther, and Arthur. Morgana's in her nightgown. Morgana, treason? Uther, yes, Morgana, treason. The blacksmith was consorting with a known enemy. Morgana, enemy? What enemy? Arthur, Tauren. The leader of a band of renegade sorcerers sworn to bring down the king. Morgana, and where is this Tauren now, Arthur? He escaped. Morgana, well, then how can you be sure? Uther, because Arthur saw him with his own eyes. Morgana, well, even if the man is who you say he is, you can't sentence Tom to death for just being seen with him. Uther, we have reason to believe he was forging weapons for Tauren. Morgana, rubbish. He would never do such a thing. Uther, every man has a price. Arthur slides the lump of gold across the table. Arthur, found this on the blacksmith. Morgana. So he was paid. He's a blacksmith. He could have been paid for shoeing Tauren's horse. Uther, in gold? Morgana, this is madness. You condemn a man with no proof. Uther, I have enough proof. Morgana, Arthur, have you nothing to say? Arthur, Father, the blacksmith committed a crime, but we don't know for certain he meant treason. Uther, no, you're right. Nothing's certain, save one thing. The law stands or this kingdom falls. Morgana, but the law must give him a fair trial. Uther, he'll get a fair trial, and he'll be found guilty, 'cause that's what he is. Morgana, you execute Gwen's father, and I will never forgive you, never. Morgana storms out. Arthur, maybe we should investigate further. Uther, Tauren slept somewhere, he fed somewhere. Find anyone who helped him in any way. They must be punished. The people must see the laws of Camelot are not to be trifled with. Arthur, yes, Father. King's palace, dungeons. Gwen visits her father's cell. Tom, I didn't know Tauren was a sorcerer. I meant no harm, I swear. Gwen, why didn't you tell me what was going on? Tom, I knew you wouldn't like it. Gwen, you're cautious. I didn't want to let an opportunity pass. Gwen, opportunity? You call this an opportunity? Tom, I know. I've been a fool. Sigh, I just wanted to make a better life for us. For you. I wanted to make you happy. Gwen, but I am happy. I don't need anything else. I have everything I want. Tom, and I've thrown it all away. Gwen, it's all right. We will get you out of here, I promise. Gwen walks away from the bars to where Merlin and Gaius are waiting. Merlin, what did he say? Gwen, he said Tauren came to him at the forge, offered to pay him a fortune for his help, not to make weapons, for an experiment or something. Merlin, what kind of experiment? Gwen, Tauren didn't say. But he used some kind of stone. Some kind of magic. King's palace, physician's chambers. Gaius exits Merlin's chamber. Gaius, she's sleeping now. Merlin, I don't understand it. What would a sorcerer want with Tom? Gaius, his forge. Merlin, it's the finest in the kingdom. Merlin, you think Tom was lying? You think he really was making weapons? Gaius, no, I don't. Merlin, then what? Gaius. When Tom was arrested, they found gold on him. Merlin. So, Gaius, and from what Gwen was saying, Tauren's experiment bears all the hallmarks of alchemy. Merlin, but alchemy's impossible, isn't it, Gaius? To change the very nature of one thing to another has defeated all who have tried. But if you used magic. Merlin, do you think that's what woke me? Gaius. It is possible, I suppose. Lower Town, day. Morgana walks to Gwen's home. Morgana. Gwen? Gwen? Morgana walks to Tom's forge. Morgana. Gwen. Morgana sees the leather bag on the floor of the forge, picks it up, and pulls out the stone. It glows in her hands. Merlin senses it as he sits in a chair in his chamber. Morgana takes the stone to her chambers and puts it in a fancy box. King's palace, Merlin's chamber. Morgana enters Merlin's chamber. Morgana, Merlin. Merlin, Morgana. Morgana looks at Gwen sleeping on the bed. Morgana, how is she? Merlin, she's doing okay. Morgana, we should let her rest. Merlin, whisper. Yeah. Merlin and Morgana exit his chamber. Merlin, Morgana, have you spoken to Uther? He must realize this is a mistake. Whatever Tom was doing, it wasn't plotting against the king. Morgana, I know that. Of course I do. But Uther only sees enemies. Merlin, but Tom is the most gentle soul I've ever met. Morgana, but he was seen with Tauren, and that makes him an enemy. Morgana turns to leave. Merlin, then. Morgana stops to face him. Merlin, there's little hope. Morgana, there's no hope Merlin. None at all. King's palace, Arthur's chambers, Morgana enters. Morgana, Arthur. She walks over to the bureau and searches for a key. King's palace, dungeons, Morgana visits Tom. Morgana, I bring you no relief, Tom. I'm sorry. I came only to see you were comfortable. Tom, how's Gwen? Morgana, she's a brave girl. She wishes only to see you free. Tom, I know what Uther thinks about sorcery. I'm a dead man, aren't I? Morgana, I cannot see the future, only the present, and one must always seize the moment. Morgana hands him the key through the bars. Morgana, good luck. King's palace. The executioner and some guards escort some men into the square. Merlin, they're to be executed. Arthur, yes Merlin. Merlin, by order of the king. Arthur, they committed a serious crime. Merlin, giving a man a bed for the night. Arthur, not a man. A sorcerer. Merlin, maybe they didn't know that. Arthur, it is not for you to question my father's actions. Is that understood? Merlin, yes, sire. Arthur, now go get on with whatever you're meant to be doing. King's palace, dungeons, night. Tom lies awake in his cell that night. He pretends to be asleep when the guard comes by, then uses the key to escape. He sneaks through the dungeon tunnels, but the guard checks his cell again. Guard, sound the warning bell. Tom knocks out a guard who's closing a dungeon gate. Tom takes his sword and the warning bell tolls. Uther and Arthur enter the council chamber of doom. Uther, he's just proved his guilt. You will kill him on sight. Arthur, but the trial, father. Uther, the trial is a formality. Now I want him dead. And an end to it. Tom tries to sneak up the wrought iron stairway, but guards come down and surround him on all sides. He drops his sword. Tom, please. Tom goes to his knees with his hands in the air. Guard, kill him. Swords run him though. King's palace, main square, day. Gwen's wail echoes in the square. Gwen, new. She runs down the steps to her father's body, which is being carried off on a cart by a pair of guards. Morgana watches from a window above. Gwen, no father. No. Father. King's palace, hedgehog chamber. Morgana waits for guards to open the doors and she storms in. Morgana, you have blood on your hands, Uther Pendragon. Blood that will never wash off. Uther, may I remind you that you're speaking to your king. Morgana, may I remind you that a king is wise and just. You are neither. You rule only with the sword. Uther, you know nothing of what it means to be king. The fate of Camelot rests in my hands. It's my responsibility to protect the people of this land from its enemies. Morgana, then the kingdom is doomed. For one by one you make enemies of us all. Uther, you speak treason, Morgana. Morgana, only a madman hears the truth as treason. Uther, take care, child, or I'll have you restrained. Morgana, you just try. King's palace, dungeons. Morgana is dragged into a large prison cell by some guards and chained to the wall. Uther, and you will remain here until you learn your lesson. Morgana, then release me because I've learned it already. That you care not for me, or anyone but yourself. That you're driven mad with power. That you're a tyrant. King's palace, Merlin's chamber. Gwen sits on the bed in Merlin's chamber, staring off into space. Merlin enters. Merlin, all right. Gwen, I just don't understand. Why did he try to escape? His trial was this morning. Someone knocks gently on the door. Arthur enters and Gwen stands up quickly to face him. Gwen, sire. Arthur, Guinevere, Want you to know that your job is safe. And that your home is yours for life. I guarantee you that. I know that under the circumstances it's not much, but, anything you want, anything you need, all you have to do is ask. Arthur begins to leave but pauses and turns back around. Arthur, I'm sorry. Gwen, thank you, sire. Lower Town, night. Gwen walks home from the palace. She pauses to take her dress off of the clothesline before going inside. Tauren steps out from the shadows and grabs her from behind, covering her mouth. Tauren, whisper, I want the stone. Where is it? Gwen tries to shake her head. Tauren lifts his hand from her mouth. Gwen, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know anything about. Tauren clamps his hand back over her mouth. Tauren, now you listen to me. In 2 days' time, I'll be at the Darkling Woods at dawn. You find the stone, you bring it to me, or you will die. Now, do I make myself clear? Gwen, muffled, nods, hum. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers. Gaius flips through a book as Merlin exits his chamber. Gaius, Merlin, come and take a look. I've been doing some research and found this. Merlin, the Mage Stone. Gaius, wonder of the ancients. Lost for 1,000 years or more. Merlin, what does it do? Gaius, theoretically, it could give the bearer the power of transformation. Merlin, gold. The power of alchemy. Gaius, exactly. I believe it was the Mage Stone you sensed on the night of Tom's arrest. Merlin, of course. Gwen said that Tauren had some kind of stone. King's Palace, dungeon, day. Morgana sits on the floor of her cell. The door opens and Arthur enters. Morgana, you. How proud you must be. Son of the mighty Uther. How you must look up to him. Does the king's little helper bring a message? Or have you just come to gloat? Arthur, guards. Morgana stands up and backs away, pulling on her chains. Morgana, get away from me, you cowards. Arthur, you're free to go. The guards remove her manacles and leave. She walks to the door. Arthur, Morgana. She pauses just behind Arthur. Morgana, yes. Arthur, I swore to him you'd never challenge his authority again. I swore that you'd learned your lesson. Tread carefully. Next time, I may not be able to help you. Morgana, thank you. You're a better man than your father. Always were. King's Palace, Morgana's chambers. Morgana enters her chambers, where Gwen is sitting. Gwen goes to Morgana quickly. Gwen, my lady. Morgana, Gwen. I didn't expect to see you here. Gwen, what happened to you? Morgana, nothing. Well, nothing a hot bath wouldn't fix. Gwen sees the sores on Morgana's arms where the manacles rubbed. Morgana, I spent the night in the dungeon. Gwen. Uther. Morgana, he doesn't like to be challenged. Gwen, it wasn't about my father, was it? Morgana. You have enough to deal with without worrying about such things. Gwen, you shouldn't have done that. Not on my behalf. If anything happened to you, I couldn't bear it. Morgana, you need to go home, Gwen. Get some rest, please. Gwen, I'm fine, my lady. Morgana, I insist. Gwen walks past Morgana with her head bowed, picking up a hairbrush. Morgana, Gwen. Gwen stops, her back to Morgana, trying not to cry. Morgana, Gwen. Gwen, I can't go home, Morgana. It's understandable to feel so alone. Gwen, Tauren. Morgana, Tauren. Gwen, he attacked me. He threatened me. He was looking for some kind of stone. Morgana, stone? Gwen, he said if I didn't bring it to him, he'd kill me. He's waiting for me in the Darkling Woods. I have to do something. If I don't get this stone to him by dawn tomorrow. Morgana begins walking off purposefully. Gwen, what are you going to do? Morgana, I'm going to send the guards, of course. It won't be you that Tauren meets. It'll be the Knights of Camelot. King's Palace, Merlin's chamber, Morgana's chambers and forest. Night. Merlin wakes when he senses the Mage Stone's power as Morgana holds it in her chambers. He gets out of bed and sees her walking out of Camelot. He follows her through the lower town and into the woods, where she is surrounded by Tauren's men. He hides behind a tree and listens in on their conversation. Tauren, where's your maid? Morgana, I've come in her place. Tauren, kill her. Morgana, no. Wait, I brought the stone. Morgana reaches for the stone. Tauren, what else have you brought, my lady? The Knights of Camelot. Morgana, I came alone, I promise you. Tauren, give me the stone. Morgana hands it over. Tauren, you were foolish to come here. I had no quarrel with your maid. But you, my lady Morgana, you are Uther's ward. He draws his sword and puts it to her stomach. Morgana, if you kill me, you'll regret it. Tauren. Why is that? Morgana, because I want Uther dead, too. Tauren, you? An enemy of the king? And I'm to believe that? Morgana, why else would I be here? Tauren, I can only guess at your motives, my lady. You could be a spy, for all I know. Morgana, and this? She flips back her sleeves, revealing her sore, bruised wrists. Morgana, is it usual for Uther to chain his friends to a dungeon wall? The stone. You took it to the forge. Why? Tauren, with it a man can alter the very essence of things. He can turn a lump of lead into gold. Morgana, gold? A good man died in your quest for riches, Tauren. His daughter is now an orphan. Tauren, I'm sorry for that. Truly. But we did not want the gold to line our pockets. The gold was but a means to rid this kingdom of Uther Pendragon once and for all. Morgana, what are you saying? Tauren, bribery is rife at Camelot. I will use the corruption at the heart of his kingdom, and such abundance of gold will buy me into the king's chambers, even to the king himself. Morgana, the guards may be fools, Tauren, but the king is not. Tauren, do you have a better plan? Morgana, to get to Uther, you need someone close to him. Tauren, and you know of such a person? Morgana, I do. Me. King's palace, physician's chambers. Merlin stares into his bowl at dinner. Gaius, pass the salt please. Merlin hands him an apple without looking. Gaius, you all right? Merlin, what? Yeah. I've just got a few things on my mind, that's all. Gaius, anything you'd like to talk to me about? Merlin. I can't imagine you'd be interested. Gaius, so long as you're sure. Merlin, I should be getting to work. Merlin gets up and heads to the door behind him. Gaius, Merlin. Merlin stops and turns. Gaius, that's a broom cupboard. King's palace, Dragon's cave. Merlin walks down the tunnel stairway with a torch and enters the Dragon's cave. Kulgara is sleeping. Merlin clears his throat pointedly. The dragon stirs. Kulgara, well, young warlock, what is it you come to ask of me? Merlin, I need your help. Kulgara, of course you do, but this time, will you heed my words? Merlin, the sorcerer Tauren is plotting to kill the king. He's made an ally of Morgana. I don't know what to do. Kulgara, do nothing. Merlin, what do you mean? If I do nothing, Uther will die. Kulgara, don't you want Uther dead? It is Uther that persecutes you and your kind. Merlin, it is Uther that murders the innocent. Merlin, but surely that doesn't make it right to kill him. Kulgara, only if Uther dies can magic return to the land. Only if Uther dies will you be free. Merlin, Uther's reign is at an end. Let Arthur's reign begin. Fulfill your destiny. The dragon flies off. Merlin, wait. Where does it say my destiny includes murder? Kulgara, free this land from tyranny. Merlin, free us all. King's Palace, Council Chamber of Doom. Uther eats alone. Morgana enters. Uther. I didn't expect to see you. You wish to say something?
Morgana. I came to apologize, my lord. Uther.
Good. Morgana stiffens. Morgana, I didn't mean to rile you. I thought only of Gwen. The poor girl is all alone in the world. Uther, it was not my intention to hurt your maid. Morgana, I know. But now she suffers, and I know how she must suffer. Uther, Morgana. Morgana, I only meant, I know what it's like to lose a father. Uther, that was a terrible day. Your father was a great friend. I had no part in his death. Morgana, you sent him into battle. You promised him reinforcements and then gave him none. You sent him to his death. Uther, that is not true. It was never my intention. Morgana, but it happened. And it keeps on happening. Uther, Morgana. Morgana, I'm sorry, my lord. Morgana turns to leave, looking upset, but her expression clears when she faces the door. King's Palace, Physician's Chambers. Merlin. Do you think Uther's a good king? Gaius. Sorry. Merlin. Uther. Do you think he's good for the kingdom? Gaius. Yes. Yes, I do. In the light of recent events, you may find that hard to believe. Merlin. Hard? No, impossible. Definitely. Gaius. Merlin. Merlin. Everyone hates him. Gaius. It is not Uther's job to be liked. It is Uther's job to protect the kingdom. Most of his methods are right. Sometimes he may go too far. Merlin. Really? You mean like executing anyone who even passes a sorcerer on the street? Gaius. Yes. But despite Uther's failings, he has brought peace and prosperity to this kingdom. Merlin. But at what cost? At the cost of women and children, fathers and sons. When will it end? Gaius. It will end when Arthur is king. Merlin. Then why not let that time be now? Why not let Arthur be king? Gaius. Arthur's not ready. The responsibility would be too great. Brave though he may be, he lacks experience, he lacks judgment. Is there anything you want to tell me? Merlin. I can't. I just. No, I can't. You've just got to trust me. Gaius, it's something I've got to work out for myself. Gaius. I do trust you, Merlin. Whatever it is, I know you'll make the right decision. King's Palace, day. Uther watches from a throne room window as Morgana walks down the palace steps into the square with Gwen. Morgana walks down the curved steps from her chambers to the Griffin landing. Uther rounds the corner behind her. Uther. Morgana. Morgana stops, but doesn't turn around. Uther. I'm not disturbing you, I hope. Morgana. Not at all. Uther. These are difficult times. They put a strain on us all. Morgana. Yes, my lord. Uther. I cannot tell you how much it pains me to be at odds with you. Morgana. And I with you. Uther. I've been thinking about what you said. And, I realize I may have been insensitive. I should have foreseen the distress that your maid's loss would cause you, that it would stir old memories. I've opened an old wound. For that, I'm sorry. Morgana goes to Uther. Morgana. My lord, it gladdens my heart to hear these words. I too wish to heal these wounds. Let us visit my father's grave together and put the past behind us. Uther. Nothing would give me greater happiness. Morgana. Shall we leave tomorrow at first light? Uther. I will make arrangements. King's Palace, entrance, night. Morgana meets Tauren outside the palace walls at night. Tauren. So, my lady, what news? Morgana. Uther has fallen for the bait. We ride out in the morning for the old cairn on the hill. Tauren. Are you sure you're committed to this? Morgana. More than ever I want Uther dead as much as you. As much as anyone in this rotten kingdom of his. Tauren, then the deed is as good as done. Merlin sees Tauren leave and sneaks back behind the castle wall. King's Palace, Arthur's Chambers, day. Uther and Morgana's party rides out of the square the next morning. Merlin watches from Arthur's chambers. Gwen walks past and notices him staring out the window. Gwen, Merlin, Merlin, Gwen. How are you doing? Gwen, I was about to ask you the same question. Merlin, I'm fine, fine. Gwen looks out the window at the riding party. Gwen, Morgana's been amazing these last few days. Merlin, I think you've been amazing. After all that's happened, getting your life back together. Gwen, it's better than sitting in an empty house, waiting for my father to walk through the door. The thing I find hardest to bear is that people will always think he was guilty because he tried to escape. Merlin, I know he was innocent. Gwen, I think he tried to escape because he knew that whatever he said or did he'd be killed. Uther had already made up his mind. That's the kind of man he is. Merlin, I wouldn't blame you if you wanted him dead. Gwen, if Uther died I'd feel nothing. He means nothing to me. Merlin, but if you had, you know, the choice, what would you do? If you had the power of life and death over Uther, would you kill him? For what he did? Gwen, no. Merlin, no. Gwen, what would that solve? That would make me a murderer. That would make me as bad as him. Merlin, you're right. Of course you're right. Merlin runs out of the room. Gwen, is anything wrong? Merlin, no. See you later. King's Palace, Merlin's chamber. Merlin runs into his chamber and grabs Sophia Tyr Mor's staff from under his bed. Gorlois' grave. Tauren and his men hide behind trees in the forest that the riding party passes through. Morgana and Uther dismount at the bottom of the hill. Morgana, do you think that we could have some privacy? Uther, fine. Wait here, we're in no danger, God. Sire. Merlin runs through the woods with the she-staff. Morgana and Uther climb the hill to the gravesite. Merlin approaches their horses and finds the Camelot guards dead. He sees the renegades pursuing Uther. Morgana kneels at Gorlois' gravestone. Morgana, father. Uther sticks his sword in the ground. Merlin approaches the renegades and raises the staff. Merlin whispers, Orquelle. A bolt of energy shoots out and kills one of the renegades, the other one draws his sword and Merlin shoots him, too. Uther approaches the grave and places his hand on Morgana's head. Uther, your father was the greatest man I've ever known. He stood for everything this kingdom represents. Truth, justice, valor. 100 times he saved my life on the battlefield. His courage and his honor were without equal. Uther kneels and kisses gravestone. Uther, when Gorlois died, I lost the truest friend I ever had. For he was as fearless in questioning my judgment as he was in defending my kingdom. That's the mark of a true friend. Morgana, I know how he respected you, my lord. But I don't share these memories. How can I? I was 10 years old. I only know I loved him and he was taken from me. Uther, when he died, and I took you into my care, you fought me from the beginning. Your will is as strong as my own. You challenge me as a friend must. As your father did in his time. Morgana, and when I do, you clap me in irons, Uther. I know I'm not an easy man. My temper blinds me sometimes. There are things that I regret. Morgana, Gwen's father? Uther, yes. Morgana looks at Uther, surprised. Morgana, are you saying you were wrong to have Tom killed? Uther, yes. Tauren watches them from behind a tree, but he hears Merlin sneaking up behind him. He moves and pulls out the mage stone. Merlin, Orquelle. Merlin raises the staff and shoot, but Tauren absorbs the energy bolt with the stone and sends it back at Merlin. Merlin is knocked unconscious. Tauren sneaks up behind Uther. Uther, I will strive to listen to you more and quarrel with you less. You've been a blessing to me, Morgana. You are the daughter I never had. Your counsel is invaluable, as is your friendship and your love. Without you, I cannot hope to be the king this land deserves. Morgana, my lord. Uther, please forgive me, Morgana. Morgana sees Tauren sneaking up behind Uther with a raised sword. Morgana, no. No. Uther blocks the blow and wrestles with Tauren. Merlin wakes. Tauren pins Uther down and draws a dagger, which Uther tries to block. Tauren, die, Uther Pendragon. Merlin approaches with the staff, but Tauren is stabbed in the back. Uther pushes him off and Morgana drops the dagger. Merlin climbs the bottom of the hill to see Uther hugging Morgana. King's palace, physician's chambers, Merlin enters. Gaius, busy day. Merlin, had its moments. Gaius, I hear that Tauren tried to assassinate Uther.
Merlin, that's what I heard. Gaius, and that Morgana saved him. How many men were there? 3, 4. Merlin, yeah, something like that. Gaius, Morgana must have shown extraordinary courage to have defended a king against such odds. I suppose you had nothing to do with it. Merlin, oh, you know. Just background stuff. Gaius, no need to be so modest, Merlin. Merlin, sorry. Gaius, it's not a criticism. It's a compliment. Merlin, right. Thanks Gaius.